Hello there, fourth graders. I'd like to say hi to Zane and Giannis, Abdullah, Bayan, and Layan. It's Friday. Phew, thank heavens. Listen, we're going to talk about the next three lessons. And there's a real kind of a problem doing these lessons because we're talking about symmetry. And symmetry is when two objects or an object can be folded, and I've used this example many times. If you fold this in half along this line, they're exactly the same. They mirror each other. That means it's symmetric. If I was to do a shape like this, and drew a line through it, and folded the one half over on the other, they wouldn't match. So that's not symmetric or asymmetric. What makes this lesson difficult is it's easier if you just take a piece of paper or you draw some objects, or even just look at the examples they give you in the textbook. And it starts on page 575, lesson 10.5. You know, you take a piece of paper, if you can fold it right in half, and both halves are exactly the same, then it's symmetric. And the line that you fold it on is the line of symmetry. Now, if I folded it like this, if I took this shape and folded it across like this, you can see they don't match up perfectly. So this would not be a line of symmetry, and this would not be symmetric on the diagonal. Even if I did it from corner to corner, or as we would say in math, from vertex to vertex, it still doesn't match up. So it's not symmetric. Although I could take it and fold it in half, again this way at the middle, and both sides are exactly the same, so it is symmetric that way, but it's not symmetric that way. So looking at shapes, there are some shapes that you can fold. You can make a line down it and fold it, and it's exactly the same. If you can't, then it's not symmetric. So what you need to do is you need to look at the examples in the book. Take a look at the different shapes. You know, here's one shape. It looks like this. And it's saying, is this shape, does it have a line of symmetry? And if you go this way, right down the middle of it, and fold this half over onto this half, it would be exactly the same. So yeah, it would be symmetric, and you could have a line of symmetry. But if I went this way and folded this on top of that, it would not match. Even if I went through on a diagonal, which you can do. The lines can run up and down, left and right, or they can go from diagonal in either direction. So any way you can draw that line on the shape where you can fold it in half and it's exactly a mirror image, then it's symmetric. And that's what lesson 10.5 and 10.6 are all about. So just go through the lesson, look at the different shapes. Some of them are really kind of interesting. Here's a shape, looks like this. and it asks you, is that symmetric? Well, if you run the line through it this way and fold this half over onto that half, well, yes, it is. But if you go this way and fold this half over onto this half, it's symmetric that way as well. If you go from corner to corner and fold it, you'll find that that shape cannot be symmetric on the diagonal. Now, lesson 10.7, let me get to it in the book here. 10.7 is talking about patterns. And I took an IQ test this morning, 20 problems, and it was all about this. It was actually kind of mind-boggling because you got to be able to see patterns in things. And on page 587, the thing about patterns, patterns repeat themselves. So if we start with 1, and then we go to 2, so if we got 2, then we go to 3 in our pattern, and 3 is 3 rows of 3. Then we go to 4, and we have 4 rows of 4. What is 5 going to look like? Well, obviously, it's going to be 5 rows of 5. And 6 would be 6 rows of 6. So, looking at the different patterns they give you here, it's a repetition, or it's looking at how that pattern changes as it moves along the line. Another example they have in the book is they give you a triangle followed by 2 squares followed by a triangle. What do you think comes next? Yeah, 2 more squares. And then a triangle, then 2 more squares, then a triangle, then 2 more squares and a triangle. So it just keeps continuing that pattern. So take a look at unit 10.7, and I don't think there's anything in there that you won't easily understand. I'm looking on 589. They got an example there, and you see sometimes you really kind of got to look at the pattern. And we're just going to do, it's problem number 1 on page 589. They start with the triangle. And then there's a missing part. So this one's missing. The next shape is a pentagon. And that has 5 sides. This has 3. Already you can pretty well guess what the pattern is, because the next thing is a hexagon. So here we have a 6-sided shape that has 6 sides, and then a septagon, which is 7 sides. So what's missing is the 4-sided object. And what's a 4-sided object? Why, it's a square. So this pattern would go triangle, square, pentagon, hexagon, triangle, square, pentagon, hexagon. So look at the patterns. You should be able to figure out what direction they're going, what's missing from it. So I'm going to leave it at that, because this is one of those kind of things that the more I talk about it, the more it will probably confuse you. So just go to your textbooks. You can do those 3 lessons real easily. I don't think you'll have any problem getting through those. And then next week, after you guys take a break here and have a nice weekend, now that I dumped all this homework on you, we'll take a closer look at angles. Angles, yep. Everything has angles, except circles. They have degrees. But anyhow, listen, you guys have a nice weekend. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and we'll be back Monday with more lessons. Oh boy. Have a nice weekend.